a barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
Welcome back to another episode of Trending Fantasy. I'm John Bauer. We got Mitch Sorensen. Tonight, we want to talk about, this is something I saw on Reddit, a little thread on there, and folks were talking about landing spots that they're looking at where we think a rookie running back is going to land. And I wanted to kind of put another layer on that, a little more spin on it, and tie it into risky veteran running backs. Mm-hmm. So we're going to run through 5 different teams tonight that we believe, based on the personnel, you know, who they currently have on the roster, the needs that they may have, the schemes, you know, I was digging into that. Not a little bit. I was digging into a lot over the last week here. And then the rookie picks that they have at their disposal. Where is it reasonable to assume that these teams might take a running back? And then just some rapid fire to start us off, because these are teams that we had initially, and it's like, okay, but maybe their veteran running back is about to be a free agent. So like the Denver Broncos, I think they're a prime candidate, Minnesota Vikings, and then you get teams like maybe the Bengals, Jaguars, Giants, Commanders, Steelers. Najee Harris is a free agent. Jaylen Warren is a restricted free agent. Baltimore, if you're looking for someone behind Derrick Henry. But we wanted to focus on 5 teams outside of that. But I, you know, like I say, Mitch, I always like to hide in plain sight. Well, hey, what about this team? What about that team? Yeah, I think some of these are very likely, but we're looking at some veteran running backs that their value could get blown up. Who's number 1 for you on this list?
Yeah, let's go with Chicago Bears, because I think that's the funnest to talk about, to be honest with you. With Ben Johnson coming in, I don't know if he was on the coaching staff when DeAndre Swift was there. Now, I don't know if he loved him or hated him, but, you know, Swift moved off pretty soon thereafter. But they have the 10th pick in the draft, man. And the more I looked at this, you know, we have some rookies that we're going to talk about that kind of to be associated with these teams just to bring it all, you know, home together. It would not shock me at all if the Chicago Bears at the 10th overall pick take Isiah Pacheco.
I knew where you were going. I think everybody knew where you were going with that build-up.
Yeah,
that would be. And is that the pick right before the Cowboys?
It is. It's the pick right before. Ben Johnson is coming from a team that flat out didn't care what you thought about their draft process. They didn't care about how you felt about roster, like positional value or anything. They're like, we're picking the best player that's going to fit our team, and it could take off from there. I don't know if there's a player in the top 10 that's going to help Caleb Williams more. Maybe a tackle. Sure, they need an offensive tackle. Isiah Pacheco could do that on a play-in, play-out basis for him.
Yeah, it's interesting. And you talk about, like, obviously DeAndre Swift is there. Dynasty running back 25, 26 years old. You got the new head coach, Ben Johnson, coming over. Swift, his contract is through the 26th season. They can basically cut him for almost nothing after 25. Yeah. You know, you have Roschon Johnson there. One thing I found very interesting was in 2024, DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson, like a lot of their scheme was based on gap runs. 50% for Swift, and Roschon was at 56%. And then you look at what the Detroit Lions did this past year, 33% gap scheme runs. And that's for Gibbs and Monty. And when you look at a player that so we're looking at maybe more zone, a player that fits that is an Amari Hampton coming out of North Carolina.
See, I wanted to bring him up, but I have him listed for another team that I absolutely love. But no, I agree with this.
That's okay. But picks, you mentioned pick 10, pick 39, 41 in the second round, even 72 in the third round. And that could be a player, you know, depending on where Caleb Johnson goes. I think that could be a third round pick. And then if we get I think a Devin Neal, I mentioned him with Minnesota, but since we're not really going to be spending too much time in Minnesota, I think the Bears are an interesting spot. So DeAndre
That's
Swift,
funny. I have Devin Neal listed as my other running back for the Bears because I think he's a very, very strong fit for him.
And like we mentioned on this week's DT Weekly, like we have our overall general framework for our shows, but we don't really share. Like Mitch is very secretive when it comes to his notes. I make a copy and I have my own notes. Same with Dan when we do DT Weekly. And it's similar here for Trending Fantasy. So that's interesting that you had him there for the Bears. I just, as crazy as it is, because it's like, okay, they got Roschon, they got Swift. They don't really need a running back. But I think with the emergence and then the new regime here, it makes sense. And I'm getting offers of like DeAndre Swift for a mid 25 second. I'm keeping the pick.
Yeah, definitely. But I do think if you could get Swift for a third, he's a guy I don't mind that because I think he's going to stick around the NFL for 3 or 4 more years and just be a guy that you'll be able to plug in at some point during the season. So he is a guy I do like to have, just not at that second round value.
No, and it's a lot of guys in that range. Like that's where, like if I'm moving them, that's what I want. But these are guys that are potential landmines. And yeah, if you get these right and maybe you invest in a DeAndre Swift and they don't go with a running back, that could be a win from a value and production standpoint. But these are just guys that we see as potential landmines, veterans that are in the top 25, 30-ish range. We didn't want to go with, the Cowboys, Rico Dowdle.
Yeah.
Like, yes, the Cowboys are a very prime team to look for a running back, but
there are great running back spots. There are great running back spot. Whether we get them or not, we never know with the draft, but these are teams to where some veterans are probably going to take a hit.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, that middle second range, when you look at the value at these veterans, it could be a dangerous situation. Hit me with your second team here.
Kansas City Chiefs. I just think even as you watch them in the playoffs, Isiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt just leave so much wanting. I mean, they're good for what they do, but they can only do what they do. That's why they have Samaje Perine, right? Because like neither of those guys are good pass catching backs. And we know they're probably going to end up picking 32nd. That's just, I'm calling it here. It's probably going to happen. And so they have 32nd, 64th, and so on and so forth. But I think they just need speed. And I think that's why they're going to end up drafting a running back. And so for me, looking at an RJ Harvey there, just the amount of speed he could add to that offense, you're already stretching the field now with Worthy. And I should have checked, but I'm pretty sure Hollywood Brown signed through next year too, right? I'm pretty certain it is. But
let
either
me go
way,
to the tiers really quick. Hollywood Brown, no, he is a free agent.
Okay, so I lied. So anyways, Worthy is going to stretch the field either way, right? I think having a running back that could also run some wheel routes and do some things is huge for that offense. We've seen it in previous years with better running backs. So for me, I really, really think they're going to go with a receiving back that's a little bit of a faster guy. So RJ Harvey, he can be a 3-down back, but more than likely in the NFL, I think he's going to be more of a receiving back. He's an older prospect with some fumbling issues, but I think, around 66, 96 around there, I think they could take him. Then I have one other back after you talk about him.
So I'm looking at pick 132 here, and I think Tootin out of Virginia Tech.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think that is one that could make sense. And you could sit there and say, well, they take a player, they take a running back at pick 132. It's really not going to impact things too much. In a pivotal playoff game, Kareem Hunt got the run over Isiah Pacheco.
Yeah.
A guy that they picked up off the streets to come back this year. And Pacheco has just not looked the same. And yeah, coming back from the injury, but like Dynasty running back 19, soon to be 26 years old. Isiah Pacheco was an older prospect. His contract's up after the 25 season. So it's not like he has any type of longer term insulated value. I think there's a lot of players that could come in, and Tootin's going to be one of those guys, in my opinion, that he gives you plenty in the receiving game, and he very well might give you one of the best 40 times in this draft class when you look at running backs.
Yeah, it's a good one. The other one I had listed with Jordan James. think Jordan James is going to be one of those round 6, round 7 guys to where he will have playable weeks this upcoming season. If he goes to the Chiefs, even more playable then.
Yeah, it will be interesting because they're not opposed to finding that diamond in the rough later in drafts and giving them the run if they're going to be productive. Third team on our list here. And this is another one. This came up in the DD Discord where you have a veteran now. It's the New England Patriots, but Ramondre Stevenson, he has slipped a little bit from a value perspective, running back 34, soon to be 27 years old. He's got the contract through 2028. They can cut him after 26, minimal dead cap. You have a new coach coming in. You don't know how the new coaching regime is going to come in and look at the players that are on their roster, especially at the running back position. But we got picks 4, 38, 69, 77. So we got 2 picks in the third there. And when you look at Ramondre and Gibson, this Patriots team last year had one of the higher gap rates. So you look at the scheme there and the way the personnel was used. How is that going to change with Mike Vrabel? It could be a completely different scheme whenever it's all said and done. And these guys in a scheme that they were used to, that they had played in, yes, it was only one season, and then the coach is out there and they're already making changes. But Ramondre Stevenson, while he's one of those guys that isn't valued that highly, but I think is another good one because I saw 2 trades today involving Ramondre Stevenson for a 26-second. And I don't know if I could pay much more or even if I want to.
I could. A big thing, like the coaching staff that was there in the 24 season wanted to bench him every single week. It's just they had Antonio Gibson, so they couldn't bench him because they had nobody else. So I have very little faith in Mike Vrabel coming in and, with McDaniels coming back, being like, no, Stevenson's going to be our guy. I actually think they're going to spend decent draft capital on a running back. So for me, this is where I have Amari and Hampton. I think Vrabel wants a banger. Like he wants to have a power rushing game. So him, Quinton Judkins, I think is a very good one as well. Just that really powerful back to where, I don't think they're going to look for that passing upside with Drake May throwing out of the throwing those will routes or those out routes or anything like that. I think they're going to want a banger. So that's where I think they're going to get one of these really big, powerful running backs that's going to average 4.5, 5 yards a carry, but end up getting 20 carries a game.
They got pick 144 later on. I mean, it's 6'2", 225. Ollie Gordon maybe fits that bill.
I just worry about his top speed so much.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys this class too. I pray they run 40 so we can really know and be able to compare them to the other prospects.
I agree. One name that I hate doing this, but going back to the Bears really quickly, Travion Henderson, that would be juicy at 39.
Yeah, no, he would be great there too. Yeah, Henderson's going on me, man. He's going to be a good pro.
I mean, I think he could be a better version at this point in time of DeAndre Swift. And another comp from an analytical perspective that is kind of interesting, and I know people might furrow the brow a little bit and be like, but maybe a healthier, better version of Jerick McKinnon, who had flashes, but the dude just could never stay healthy.
Yeah.
So even going back to his days with the Vikings when he first came into the league, he had that high-end speed, just a big play potential, but couldn't really stay healthy. Do you remember when he went to San Francisco and he got bumped up to like 3rd round startup value?
I remember that.
And then was out for the season.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was short-lived. We did that with running backs a lot a few years ago.
Oh, Damian Williams.
Zamir White.
That one wasn't too high.
I know.
Anyway, so we got the Chicago Bears as some risky veteran running back value. Kansas City Chiefs. I know some people still are really high on Isiah Pacheco. Running back 19 seems a little too high for me. New England Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson, new head coach coming in, Mike Vrabel. Who's number 4 on your list here, Mitch?
Houston Texans. Bobby Slovik's out, so we'll see what happens there. But Joe Mixon was good this year. He was really good, but he's entering his age 29 season, and we've seen Kamara do well doing that, but we did see Joe Mixon hurt a bit this year. And I just don't know if they're willing just to go into the season with just Joe Mixon again. Because, I mean, they have like Dare Abungwale, how do you say his last name?
Well, Damian Pierce had some.
Yeah, he's
some
fine,
movement.
but I mean, he's just a guy, right? Like, I don't think anyone's going to the season like, hey, he's our RB2. We feel good about it. So they have picks 25, 58, 89. I think 58 and 89 are prime running back target areas. And I'm going Caleb Johnson. And he's a good power back who's kind of in the mold of Joe Mixon. But I keep seeing people, and this is on X more than anything else, they say he's slow. Like, how do you think he's slow? He has like one of the best breakaway attempt percentages. Like, John put the whole nose together of everyone that's in there. He's at 12%. I mean, it's better than Sampson. It's better than Quinshon, well better than Quinshon Junkins, which is a whole nother story. Scadabo's well down there. He's better than Ashton Genty as far as the breakaway attempts. Like, the dude isn't slow. And so I think he's going to run a 4.5. And I think he is just such a strong back that, like, I keep putting him right next to Hampton, and you see some people be like, oh, no, he's not close. It's really Henderson.
Yeah.
Put Henderson in that class as well. But those three backs are going to be really good in the NFL.
Yeah, the 4.5 speed at 225 pounds, that would be plenty.
Yes, he'll be
plenty. So, yeah, I mean, that Joe Mixon, and it's a really difficult time of the offseason, obviously, because, well, for any running back, but
yeah,
Joe Mixon, like, he's one of those running backs. I certainly would wait to see how free agency in the NFL draft goes, to see what this team does, especially at 58 and 89. I would be very surprised if they did not look to address the position in some way. Maybe it drops down to pick 126 or so, but I think something's going to happen there. And these are all, again, just kind of like a cautionary tale when you're looking at these veteran running backs. If somebody puts them on the block, sure, if you can get a tremendous value on these guys, why not? But if they're looking for their current value, and Joe Mixon at running back 15, according to Fantasy Calc, yes, a lot of those trades are still residual value from the season whenever he was trading a little bit higher, but still just keep that in mind. Now, the last team here, one last team in our top 5 that you believe is a team that could add a running back in this 2025 rookie class that could impact the incumbent's value.
It's hard. So we have the New Orleans Saints here. The more I looked at it, the more this is one of those teams to where, what if the new coach likes Kendre Miller? If he likes Kendre Miller, Alvin Kamara is still there. I think Kendre Miller can kind of fill the role of what one of these upcoming backs is. But the previous staff flat out didn't like him and pretty much said it multiple times that he, needs to stay healthy, and being healthy is kind of a skill for him at this point. And so who knows what this new coaching staff's going to be, especially because I think they're interviewing Kellen Moore, I think tonight or tomorrow. I mean, it's sometime soon, right?
Wait, no, nobody wants this job.
No, that's the thing.
They might call you by the end of the week.
I might have turned down. No, not really. I take it in a heartbeat. But so one thing is, I think Alvin Kamara is safe. I think any coaching staff that comes in, they're going to be happy with him. But I think they would be happier with him if they didn't have to play him on every first down and every second down. I think if they could turn him more into the change of pace back, I think that'd be the point. And I would really hate myself if we went through this whole show without really bringing up a good landing spot for Cam Scatabo. But doesn't the Saints just like fit him? I don't know if it's the Taysom Hill thing. Maybe that's just what I'm seeing. But I think he brings everything that you kind of wanted from Kendre Miller. But the dude has the attitude on top of it. Like, he fully believes he is the best running back in college football. And that's just how it is. And all these guys probably feel that way, but he's more than happy to tell you that he feels that way. I think he goes in and he could easily fill in. They need a good power back. They need someone in the goal line. And Alvin Kamara is awesome, right? But he's going to be 30. So it's how long can he hold up, get 200 touches a season. If you can knock him down to 150, I think he could have a great year, and a guy like Cam Scatabo could be awesome in this offense.
I actually, and you mentioned Kendra Miller, and you make a good point. If this coaching staff comes in, whoever it is, and they like a player like Kendra Miller, I could see them. I don't think it's crazy if they would double tap running back and bring in somebody like Cam at pick 93, and then like in the 6th, or if they had to go a little bit earlier, like a Woody Marks, who is extremely good in the passing game.
That's a good point.
Kind of fits that receiving, the upper echelon receiving work. And he's another one that a little bit on the higher end from a breakaway attempt percentage. And like, there's just so many names here. I'm actually surprised Dylan Sampson hasn't been mentioned yet.
I'm worried that he's going to be slow. Like, I don't think he looks slow on tape, but like we brought up the breakaway attempt percentage, like it's really, really bad. And if you're not breaking away a lot in college, I worry the chances of you ever doing in the NFL. I didn't go back. You could correct me if I'm wrong on this, but like Rams fans aren't happy with Kyren Williams right now, right? They feel like he should have had a very easy touchdown. There's a play, it's all over X, to where they'll show it, and it's a still footage to where like a lot of running backs in the NFL should score on this play. Kyren Williams couldn't because he just didn't have the top end speed, right? And Kyren Williams is an awesome running back. So this isn't to say Dylan Sampson can't be amazing. It's just there's things to worry about when you see guys who can't break away at the college level.
Yeah. And then I just want to mention, you mentioned Cam Scatabo there with the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would make a great 1-2 punch with Chase Brown in Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be a great. I don't think he's ever going to be the three down 250 touch guy, but I think he could be a very good 150 touch guy, and he could catch balls extremely well.
He's very good in the receiving game.
Yeah.
And then Najee Harris, free agent. You got Jalen Warren still here in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. You talk about hard-nosed, blue-collar, son of a gun. Cam Scatabo fits that for Pittsburgh. Yeah. Anything else here? So kind of just, again, a cautionary tale, some risky veteran running backs, some potential landing spots for rookies based on the picks they have, the scheme they operate out of, whether it's a coaching staff that's returning or it's a new staff, and just contracts, the age, the dynasty value, a lot going on. But talking about the Bears, talking about the Chiefs, the New England Patriots, the Houston Texans, and the Saints, let us know if you would have put any of those maybe honorary mentions in the top 5, or if there's anybody that we didn't mention that you think like is Tyrone Tracy at risk? Is Brian Robinson at risk? Let us know, because I think it's a good conversation to have, because you're able to avoid those landmines and anything that's maybe seen as a potential value at this point in time that maybe really isn't. So let us know in the comments. Then drop that like, hit the subscribe button, and then use code Theory. Go over to ddfantasyfootball.com. Click the link in the episode description below. Get 50% off your first month. You're going to stick around. You're going to love it. A lot of great resources at ddfantasyfootball.com. We got the great Discord community, my cross-positional dynasty tiers, and just fantasy football conversations and more happening 24/7. For Mitch Sorensen, I'm John Bauer. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.